This is a Gear Network production.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, Mr. Perez, and you're listening to the Better Live Than Dead podcast, brought to you exclusively on Gear Network. Listen in.
What's up, people? It is episode number 71 of the Better Live Than Dead podcast.
Episode 71.
We are live with you here today, whatever the day is you may be listening to this podcast. I am Ryan Wolf at the Wolf Den Studios right now in an undisclosed location. I am Wolf BLTD on Twitter, and joining me on the microphone tonight, not on the phone, we got a special occasion. Lewis is on location.
That's right.
Honestly, we have a special scenario, not a special location. Special scenario. Lewis is at a special location, on location. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you very much. I'm chilling at Santiago Cigar Factory, enjoying a cigar, having some bourbon that I brought with me because you can't technically drink in a shop like this. So I'm red cupping it so I don't get in trouble.
That's smart. The way to break the law. It's okay.
Hey, someone has to.
You're roboting it again. You got to sit closer.
Oh, I'm right on the microphone, bro.
Okay, because you just roboted there for a second. I'll just let you know. If I lose you, I'll just yell, and then you'll know what we're talking about.
That's cool.
Okay, so I want to start off this week. College football. A lot of stuff happened this past week. The most important stuff, though, is we know the Heisman finalist, and we know the Final Four in the college football playoffs. So first off, Heisman Trophy finalists. Alabama running back Derrick Henry, 1,986 rushing yards this year, 23 touchdowns. Stanford's running back Christian McCaffrey, who broke Barry Sanders' NCAA record with 3,496 all-purpose yards. And Clemson quarterback Deshaun Watson was the only player in the country with 3,500 or more passing yards and 800 or more rushing yards. Now, I haven't watched a lot of college football. Yeah, I was going to say, I haven't watched a ton. I've heard a little about these guys. But, Lewis, maybe you know, who do you think has the edge for the Heisman Trophy this season?
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it's the Alabama running back who takes it. He's a beast. He's been clutch down the stretch. Although, I mean, let's be honest, Clemson's quarterback is phenomenal. And, you know, he's led them to, you know, they're the number one team in the nation right now. So I would say it would probably be a toss-up between him or Henry out of Alabama.
Well, the best part is that quarterbacks have won, I believe, the past 5 years or something like that. So it's,
yeah, I believe so.
I would have to say, just with on the surface, with Clemson being number one in the country and Deshaun Watson being a quarterback, he probably has the upper hand on it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if anybody won, but I would be least surprised if Deshaun Watson took it. Now, moving over to the Final Four of the college football playoffs, we know today Clemson, number one in the, number one in the playoff. They're ranked number one in the playoff at 13-0. They're one in the country. They're going to host Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl.
That'll be a good game.
That would be a phenomenal game. That's one half of the finals. The other half, number 2 Alabama versus number 3 Michigan State. Both teams are 12-1. By the way, Clemson 13-0. Oklahoma's 11-1. Both teams in this game are 12-1. Alabama versus Michigan State, 2 versus 3 in the Cotton Bowl. That should also be a fantastic game because Alabama is Alabama, and Michigan State is quickly becoming a powerhouse throughout the national football scene, I guess. I was not sure where I was going with that one. But the college football scene, nationally. Yeah, they're becoming a beast the past couple of years, and this season is no different.
No, I agree with you there. The way that they beat Michigan was absolutely crazy. I believe the Bama-Michigan State game will be a very high-tempo, exciting game to watch. I believe that the Clemson-Oklahoma game is going to be a really good game for the first half, and I think in the second half, Clemson is going to start to run away with it, setting up. Are we going to do predictions on this, or should I just wait?
Yeah, we can. We totally can.
I believe it's going to be Clemson-Alabama in the national championship game. And while I have a hard time going against Clemson winning the way they've been looking, I believe Alabama's going to win another national championship.
I'm going to say I'm just going to go the easy way out. I'm going to say Clemson, Michigan State. I think Clemson will take it. They've just been way, way too good this season. From what I've seen, they've been obviously to beat because they haven't been beaten, but their team is just absolutely fantastic. It's well rounded. They've got a fantastic head coach as well, who started a trend throughout the entire sporting world. So I'm going to say, I'm going to go with the feel-good story. I'm going to go with Clemson. I mean, why not?
Yeah, that's not a bad pick. I mean, they've been extremely, extremely good. So I can't fault you for that pick.
Well, I'm just not, and I was going to say I'm not really sure what else I should go with there because I don't want to see Alabama win again. I mean, I would have no issue with it because I don't really care, but I'd rather if I could put my feelings out there, I would rather not have Alabama win the national championship. I understand that.
They've been in it a lot lately.
Just bored of Nick Saban. Just absolutely bored of Nick Saban. See,
I'm not because Nick Saban is he reminds me a little bit of Bill Belichick in a way. He's just a smart.
Of who? Sorry, I lost you.
He reminds me of Belichick in a way. Belichick.
Okay.
Because he's just a smart, calculating coach who knows how to motivate his team and knows how to defeat the other team. He knows how to take people out of the game on the other side of the ball. He's an incredible coach.
I give it to him that he knows how to play. Sorry, he knows how to play to a team's weaknesses, and that's a lot of the reason why Alabama is so good.
Right, I agree.
He can coach up a group of young men and play to a team's weakness, and then make you play. I mean, obviously, if you're playing to their weakness, they'll play to your strength. But if he just has a way of making it work out where they always win. Almost all the time because they're that good. He's that good a coach. Quickly moving over to the MLS, we have a champion to crown. The MLS Cup took place last weekend. The Portland Timbers defeated the Columbus Crew 2-1. It's the Timbers' first ever MLS Cup. Congratulations to them.
Congratulations.
From what I saw, Portland scored the game-winning goal 18 minutes in and then held it for another almost 80 minutes. That's some fantastic soccer right there for sure.
Yeah, no, from what I didn't watch the whole game. I caught parts of it, but yeah, it was a good game. Very defensive. I didn't
catch the game because I was actually at the art gallery, which is really cool. But we can talk about that later.
All right, cool.
I'm going to move over to, I'm trying to pick what do I want to do next. We'll go with hockey first.
Okay.
It's the off season, or it's the mid-season meetings. They do this, well, not really mid-season, but they do the winter meetings essentially with hockey. The owners get together and they were discussing a couple topics. First off, as we've talked about in the past couple months, there's a really weird compensation rule in place where if you fire a guy but you're still paying him, technically you own his rights. So a team has to pay you a draft pick or whatever it may be to get that guy. Sabres did it with Dan Biles. Columbus did it with John Tortorella. A couple executives have changed hands and picks have gone. So the NHL has announced today that as of January 1st, that will no longer happen because it's a stupid rule and it should have never happened in the first place. I never understood how if you fire a guy, you still own his contractual rights. The only reason they own contractual rights is because you signed a guy, and once you sign a contract, it's binding, and you can't just say, well, you're fired, so we're not paying anymore. You have to pay the balance of the contract for the coach. So, I mean, I get why they would think that they own the guy's rights, but you fired him.
Yeah, once you let someone go, you don't really own the rights to that person anymore because, quite frankly, even if they have a contract, you have essentially terminated their contract with your team. So, yeah, that's a good change.
Now, the one thing I get is if like an assistant coach or say your front office has a really good like stats guy or analytics guy and they want to take him and make him a GM, he's still under contract, absolutely, because it's like a trade. I mean, that's what it is. Obviously, you're not going to trade guys for players, but you'll trade them for picks, which obviously I know picks become players, but at the time, it's just a simple draft pick transaction, but apparently we're not doing that anymore. So for the best, it's totally for the best with the National Hockey League. But moving on to some other things in hockey. Yeah, moving on to some other things in hockey. The talk of the week has been expansion, with Las Vegas. That's the place I'm looking for, and Quebec City being the two finalists for expansion potentially, and they've reached the latter stages of the process apparently. Oh man, I don't know where that one came from. Excuse me.
What are you tired? What are you tired?
Apparently I'm tired. It's as of recording time, it's almost 6:45, so I'm exhausted. But the National Hockey League is kind of tight-lipped on what's happening with Las Vegas and what's happening with Quebec City. There have been some reports coming out that a handful of owners are not really open to two new expansion teams. They would rather be relocations, like you take the Panthers from Florida and put them somewhere, or you take the Hurricanes in Carolina and you put them somewhere. Because if you bring more teams in, they're afraid it's going to dilute the money pool and they'll get less money from massive TV deals, which is true. But having two more teams in the National Hockey League should increase revenue, which will in turn put more money in people's pockets.
Yeah, I agree with you.
A lot of people, the big rumor though, the reason that people are so weird about it is because Seattle was expected to be Las Vegas and Seattle still has yet to figure out their arena deal, and they're not going to give some random guy in Seattle a hockey team if he doesn't have concrete in the ground, essentially building a brand new hockey arena. So,
well, yeah, that makes sense. You definitely want to be prepared before you give someone a team.
Because you want to make sure it doesn't fall through. Gary Bettman has said that the NHL is remaining in contact with the Seattle groups because there are a few groups that may want to do it, but they're not going to be in this round of expansion. But the thing about expansion that may excite some owners is that they're discussing right now. I mean, if they've gotten to the point where they're not going to confirm the teams yet. That they're not going to say, hey, these teams are official. They're allowed to come to the league. But they've already started discussing potential expansion draft possibilities and where would these new teams draft in the NHL draft that season. So it may be a thing where if they can allow it, you can have older players on no movement clauses or no trade clauses, and they won't have to waive any trade clauses or any no movement clauses. They can be put into a draft and picked up by another team. Like, say, for instance, right now with the Buffalo Sabres and Matt Moulson, he's under contract for, I think, 5 more years. So that'll be 2017, 2018 when they play. So it'll be 2016, probably 2016, 2017. Well, if it's, it'll be the 2016, 2017. So it would happen in next year, maybe? Okay. I'm trying to think here. If they're going to play the 2017, 2018 season, it would probably be the 2017 draft. So I believe it would probably happen. It'll happen sometime in the next year and a half, we'll just say. So he'll have like 3 or 3.5 years left on his contract at the time. But it's $5 million per. By then, who knows what the salary cap will be, or if Matt Moulson will be relatively good for this team in Buffalo. So you can put him in the draft, and he'll just get taken. And it'll be something. It'll just be something where the Sabres can just knock him off the books, and he plays for Las Vegas or Quebec.
Which would not be a bad, deal.
It's just weird to me how that works out, because I don't remember the last. I mean, I wasn't a massive hockey fan until probably the last 6 or 7 years. It's crazy to think that, but I'm like, I'm a crazy hockey guy now, but I don't remember the last expansion draft or how it worked. But if general managers can get players off of their roster with massive amounts of money exchanging hands, and they don't have, they don't get anything for it, I don't think, but they can get rid of those contracts. That's a pretty big deal.
That's a pretty big deal. That would be beneficial all the way around. As would, in my opinion, expansion. Hockey's been doing extremely well lately, and there seems to be more and more hockey fans. So who doesn't want to see essentially more hockey?
Well, the thing too is that Las Vegas almost has an arena completed, which that was kind of a rumor. Lots of rumors are flying. A lot of rumors say that it was like a backdoor handshake deal. You build the arena, like it's like Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come.
They will come. Exactly.
So you build that's no joke, dude. That's exactly what Quebec did too. Quebec built a brand new arena, and they're playing like the Quebec Remparts of the QMJHL are playing in that arena. It's a gorgeous. If you get a second, go look it up, because you know what? I'm no architect, but I absolutely love looking at brand new arenas and like seeing stuff get built. And
Right.
I just tweeted yesterday a couple photos of the inside of the Las Vegas arena, and it's gorgeous. It's absolutely wonderful. It's not done yet, but it's almost done. It's getting there. But Quebec's new arena is ready for an NHL team. But a lot of people are worried. And the other thing too, I failed to mention about this. The reason NHL owners may be turned off by the idea of expansion is, I know I mentioned a little, but the owners reportedly don't want to eliminate cities that can be used for relocation. Because obviously if you put a team in Las Vegas, you put a team in Quebec, that takes two major cities off the map that are hockey hungry, that are going to there's going to be no landing spot for them. So if Florida goes under, you'd have to put Florida maybe in Kansas City, or you put Florida in Seattle. So it muddies the waters a little. But at some point in time, if you want to make the hockey big, may have to just take the plunge.
No, that's a very good point. They may have to take the plunge.
I'm just reading Twitter right now to see what's going on here. The Florida Panthers are talking today because of the owners' meetings. And speaking of, let's see here. There's something going on with the Panthers in terms of voting to give the team money.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. 9 minutes ago, the Broward County Commission passes Florida Panthers financial deal, secures team future in South Florida. Needed 5-3, got 5. So it does look like the Florida Panthers are going to remain in Florida for now. That's awesome.
That's pretty.
It says here.
Breaking news, people.
Exactly. $86 million in tourist taxes, rewrites the lease. Still 13-year lease in Florida, but they can break after 8 years. Break in 8 years after they pay $72 million. So Florida looks like they're going to be there for a while. Another thing to look at, too, is the Coyotes are looking for a new arena, but it looks like they're looking for an arena in the Arizona area. So that's at least interesting to keep an eye on for sure, but that's possible that they could move. I mean, they're trying not to, but that was been rumored for a while that Arizona could be moving up to Seattle. But like I said, it's just there's so many moving parts right now. I mean, because for a while we thought that Florida could be a team to move, and Florida's not a team to move. So it looks like I said, for 8 more years at least they're going to be down in Florida. So I guess we can cross them off the list. They're continuing to lose money. They're gouging money. But we'll see what happens.
It's never fun when you have a team just absolutely bleeding money. But if they want the product there, hopefully over the next couple of years, they'll be able to, turn it around and turn a profit eventually.
Oh, I agree. It's and not to mention, it's just money's weird. Like, it's weird when you have money in sports and you're trying to figure that crap out. And I don't know. I'm just like reading Twitter as we're talking to try to figure out if there's anything else going on with it. But it doesn't look like there is. If it happens, we'll talk more next week about it. One last thing in hockey. Some sad news for Pittsburgh Penguins fans like you, as well as just hockey fans in general.
Yes.
The Pittsburgh Penguins and Pascal Dupuis announced today that Dupuis will no longer play hockey due to blood clots. It's been a condition he's been dealing with on and off for the past couple of years. This year he played, I think, 18 games and then had another issue with blood clots. Tried coming back. They essentially shut him down and said, you can't do this anymore. It's too much of a risk to your life. And Pascal Dupuis said, I've had enough. I've played enough. I mean, he's played 871 career games in the National Hockey League, 409 points, 190 assists, 190 goals, 219 assists. I mean, it's it sucks, but it's good to see a professional athlete put his put his personal health and his family over his career.
Right. I agree with you there. So good luck to him in his future endeavors.
Absolutely. And Dupuis did win the Stanley Cup in 08-09 with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Right.
So it'll be weird to not see Pascal Dupuis with the Penguins. He's been kind of a mainstay for a while, but,
Right.
Like I said, it's good to see someone put their personal health over the game for once.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Now we're going to move over to the UFC. Big, monster, monumental weekend for the UFC. UFC 194 happens this weekend, but first we've got some news. Dana White confirmed that Rousey-Holm rematch is the next fight for Ronda Rousey. When that will happen, we don't know. But like I said, I'm going to reiterate it. Excuse me, after I burp, I'll reiterate it. That Ronda Rousey, her next opponent is Holly Holm. And Ronda Rousey did speak this week saying that she's going to come back because she has to beat Holly Holm, which makes sense. We all want to see it. I'm still guessing UFC 200, but that may be too long of a layoff. So we'll keep an eye out. I mean, that's only 6 UFCs away after this weekend, but that's July of next year, so it may be we may see something different. Who knows? Dana White also said he's going to be using. Looks like he's going to use a YouTube reality show to find CM Punk, former WWE champion CM Punk's first ever opponent in the UFC. Obviously, you get guys coming out saying they want to fight Punk, but the problem is there's no way anybody will sanction a fight against a man fighting his first fight. Or for a man fighting his first fight against, like if John Jones wanted to fight CM Punk, there's no way they would sanction that because that would be brutal and unfair and dangerous, just borderline dangerous or downright dangerous. I mean, borderline. It would be like, do you have a death wish because you're going to allow a man to assault another man? I mean, that's what they're doing. But when a guy doesn't know how to defend himself because it's the first time he's done it in an actual octagon during an actual sanctioned fight. You got to let him build his way up. So Dana White, like I said, we'll keep an eye on that. We can talk more about that in the future as it develops, but he did confirm it looks like CM Punk will have an opponent here shortly. No timetable on that one, but I don't know about you, Lewis. I'm very excited to see CM Punk in the octagon.
It'll definitely be different and exciting. Unfortunately, it won't be the same like WWE fans who are looking forward to seeing him fight. Don't look for the microphone addicts. Don't look for him dropping knowledge on people because he was phenomenal on the microphone when he cut a promo, and that's just not going to happen with the UFC. Although unless he goes the way of my man that's fighting this weekend, who really likes to talk junk against Aldo. But I don't see him going. McGregor. Yeah, McGregor. I was going to say his name. I was just leading into it.
You're okay. You're okay.
I was watching a piece this week on that fight, and Aldo is a devastating fighter. He's extremely dangerous. McGregor is also really good. I really don't know if he'll beat Aldo. I'd like to see him beat Aldo because I like that type of personality where they get out there and they just leave it all out there and they just talk all types of junk. And, it's such a contrasting style between these two dudes. When he jumped over the octagon and got in Aldo's face in the crowd, I was like, yes, I like seeing that type of stuff. But it may backfire on him. Aldo might absolutely kick his bony. He might hurt him.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was next for me. But the one thing I want to mention to you, and I want to point out to all of our listeners, Conor McGregor said this week that he's likely to move to lightweight after this fight, no matter the outcome. So Conor McGregor could win the title, vacate the title, and move up. Also, There's rumors coming out of Jose Aldo's camp that after this fight, win, lose, or draw, he's going to retire as well, like Georges St. Pierre did. So do you think, in your opinion, and your expert opinion, Lewis, of UFC, or just anything in general, if you know that essentially the outcome of this weekend's fight between Conor McGregor and Jose Aldo is at this point useless, meaningless, empty, whatever you want to call it, does that change the excitement level for you for this fight?
No, not at all, because even though one may win up, one may be returning, these two dudes seem to generally not like each other. And so when you have that component mixed into a fight, no matter what the outcome, the action should be awesome. And these two dudes are not going to be lame ducks in there. They're not going to not go at each other as full bore because they know one might be retiring, one might be moving up. No, they don't like each other. They're talking all types of crap about each other. And quite frankly, it makes me excited because to me that means they're going to go into the octagon and put it all out there and just try to devastate each other. And I think it's going to make for a very, very good fight.
I mean, we've got Uriah Faber on the prelim. I
always liked Uriah.
And I love Uriah Faber, but the problem is right now he's kind of stuck in limbo because it looks like he's going to fight his old buddy. I just completely forgot his name. I just went blank. I'm sorry. Let me get back to the original point here. First off, I'm kind of bummed about I'm really kind of bummed about the McGregor-Aldo fight in terms of McGregor saying he'll move up, Aldo saying he may retire, or someone saying Aldo may retire. It's something that, I mean, it still doesn't take away from the fight. It just kind of bumps me out personally because I like to, storylines, and that kind of detracts for me from the storyline. And it's just difficult for me to sink my teeth in it too much if I'm like, well, hey, dude is gonna drop the title if he wins it, or he may keep it, but that's gonna be difficult to fight in two weight classes at once. So again, probably not gonna happen. It's, I don't know. I'm just really bummed about it, man. Like, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm just like, it sucks because I got so hyped for the fight and it was like, McGregor, Aldo, interim title, but now someone's gonna dump it, and are they gonna have, is McGregor gonna fight someone else, or is McGregor gonna just automatically move up? Like, I want to know that. And obviously with Aldo, is Aldo gonna retire, or is Aldo gonna stick around and maybe disappear for a while, then come back, or just say peace out, I'm done with this crap. I've got nothing, no interest in this anymore. So I want to see what happens there too. But the cool thing about UFC 194 is that everybody on the main card at one point in time has headlined a UFC event. So if you want to check out UFC for the first time, this may be the UFC to tune into.
I agree. This should be a fun one. Uriah is fighting Sayans. How do you pronounce his last name?
I'm not sure.
I'm
actually looking at
Frankie Sayans. Frankie Sayans.
What I was gonna say before, sorry, Lewis, I just found up the name again because I completely blanked out. TJ Dillashaw, currently training for a fight, was in Uriah Faber's camp. He was under Uriah Faber's wing, one of his best buddies, but he left Faber's camp, and Faber essentially said, if you're going to train somewhere else, you're not welcome here. And that now may pull Faber out of limbo, because right now he's kind of stuck, because he said, I won't fight my friend if he's in my camp, and my friend, we're not going to fight. But now that he's out of the camp, it may be a thing where we get Dillashaw and Faber, and that will be a killer fight, because it'd be for the title, and maybe Faber can finally break out that mold of he's a great fighter, but not a good enough fighter to be a champion, because the one thing he's never done in the UFC is won a championship. And that's the one thing for me that sticks in the craw is he's done it all, but he's never won a UFC championship.
Right. No, I agree with you. It'll be interesting because the guy that Uriah's fighting this week, they're the same height, the same pound. Uriah's got 1 inch reach advantage, 67 versus 68.6. But Frankie Sayans has a 1 inch advantage on the legs at 38 inches versus 37. Excuse me. Uriah's 32-8. Sayans is 11-2. A very similar KO ratio, 28 to Uriah, 27% to Frankie. But the submissions is where there's a huge discrepancy. Uriah Faber has a 53% submission rate, while Frankie Sayans only has an 8% submission rate.
You said 18?
So, yeah.
That's bad.
He's at a huge disadvantage percentage there.
That just tells me that just tells me his opponent likes to stand up and strike.
Right, exactly. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how this plays out.
I want to move over to baseball now. Mark McGwire has officially been named the Padres bench coach, which is a move up for him after Dave Roberts came in Los Angeles, and I believe McGwire was a coach. I don't remember exactly what he was doing under Don Mattingly, but McGwire gets a new job. The Marlins officially
wasn't he the hitting coach?
That's what I thought. Yeah. Barry Bonds officially announced as the Miami Marlins hitting coach, which we all get our wish because the most powerful hitter in the game today, as we mentioned last week, Giancarlo Stanton, will now work with one of the greatest power hitters ever in Barry Bonds. So sign me up for that. Because if Barry Bonds can tune up his swing and he can hit 55, 60 home runs in a season if he can stay healthy, good Lord to have. I want some of that.
Yeah, if you have to have a coach, it might as well be one of the greatest hitters ever. Arguably the greatest hitter ever.
Steroids are not one of the greatest ever.
What'd you say?
Steroids are not one of the greatest ever.
Yeah, no, I agree. So that should definitely bode well for him.
Now I want to run down this gigantic list of baseball acquisitions from the week. We'll just go one by one and throw a couple words at each. Go from there. The Chicago Cubs signed John Lackey, pitcher John Lackey. A great move. A lot of people speculated it was going to happen. A perfect fit for that rotation. And it looks like the Cubs, after making the playoffs last year, are very serious about going back next year and going further. And John Lackey, if John Lackey can pitch effectively like he did with St. Louis, John Lackey can really push that team, I believe, to the next level. I don't know if the next level is the World Series or if the next level is just getting closer to the World Series, but I feel like he can probably push them to that next level, make them a better baseball team. Plus, you have the connection of Theo Epstein and John Lackey from Boston as well, which also made a ton of sense.
Yeah, no, that's a good pickup for them.
Arizona signs pitcher Zach Greinke. I'm not too sure why Greinke decided to go to Arizona. I would assume maybe the large amount of cash they gave him, but a phenomenal pickup for the Diamondbacks. I'm not sure if it's gonna how much it's gonna help them right now because their team is not great, but having an anchor in that rotation will certainly help out the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I don't agree with you there.
San Francisco signs pitcher Jeff Samardzija. A big deal for him, but clearly he chose the right job, baseball over football. He was a wide receiver at the University of Notre Dame. Decided to forego his football eligibility and decided to come to baseball instead. A lot of teams were rumored to be in on him, but I believe it was $5 and $90 million for Jeff Samardzija. He'll be a middle of the rotation guy, but if he can put it together, he's a fantastic pitcher. It's just the problem is that he struggled to put it together, struggled the past couple of seasons, but it seems to me like there's no better place in San Francisco to go because you can pair up with Madison Bumgarner and just and plus next year it's an even year next year, so they're going to win the World Series anyways.
Well, let's go back to Greinke real quick. You said you don't know why he decided to go to Arizona. You think maybe it's because Arizona offered him the most money?
I'm thinking so. I mean, he gets to stay in the West Coast where he's been for the past couple of years, but I know San Francisco was interested in Greinke and Los Angeles was interested in Greinke. I'm not sure if Los Angeles was that interested in terms of the money. I mean, they wanted him back because Kershaw and Greinke has been a phenomenal 1-2 punch. But I don't know if they were interested at $200 million.
Right.
So
and $206.5 million is a lot of dollars.
It's the price to pay for an ace. We've seen that.
That could be a couple of cigars.
Just a couple, yeah. Give me a couple more microphones for the podcast too.
Right, exactly. Probably 1 or 2 cigars.
Yeah, I just I'm just thinking here. I would have to assume the money. I mean, can you think of anything else? Any other reason why you'd want to play in Arizona?
No, I really can't. But I mean, other than that,
you don't even know what to say so bad that you're turning into a robot, and I can't understand what you're saying. So I'll just move on to the next guy.
I said I really don't know other than $206 million.
There's 206 million reasons why, and they're all Washington.
$34.3 million a year annually. Yeah, that would probably make me want to switch teams.
The Baltimore Orioles signed pitcher Darren O'Day, relief pitcher, one of the best out there. A good pickup for them. Oakland signs pitcher Ryan Madsen, who had a comeback season with the Kansas City Royals last year. The Dodgers re-signed pitcher or second baseman Chase Utley. They reportedly acquired pitcher Aroldis Chapman, but that deal is on hold right now because of some domestic violence allegations that have surfaced. Apparently, he choked his girlfriend, threw her around their house, and then he went into his garage and fired his gun 8 times for some reason. Apparently in anger, I don't know. But he admitted to shooting the gun, said he did not choke his girlfriend, but Major League Baseball currently is investigating. Rumors out there say that the Boston Red Sox caught wind of this, which is why they backed off a trade for him last month, because as we know now, Major League Baseball has a domestic violence policy in place where they can suspend a player as long as they want to, as they deem necessary. And Jose Reyes will probably be getting a suspension. I'm assuming Aroldis Chapman will be as well. And you have to suspend these guys because you have to set a precedent.
No, I agree with you. You definitely have to. And obviously, looking at the domestic violence charge, you definitely want to make sure that the incident occurred, that he did choke her. You got to do your due diligence. I mean, he admitted that he fired the gun 8 times into the ground, which quite frankly, you know what? If you're going to go outside, you're going to shoot your gun to the ground. I'd rather have you do that to beat up your girlfriend.
Whatever you were saying, I'm going to have to repeat it because you're cutting out again.
I'm sorry. I keep turning my head as I'm looking around while I'm talking. I was saying that, he admitted to firing his gun 8 times into the ground, and I'd much rather have him do that than beat up his girlfriend. Yeah,
I would rather him not be a terrible human being because clearly something happened with what is going on. So we'll find out. I mean, maybe he'll be charged, maybe he won't. But Major League Baseball also has to do an independent investigation, and we'll get to the bottom of it at some point in time. And if he did do something wrong, I hope he gets suspended properly.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there.
The Seattle Mariners acquired pitcher Wade Miley from the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox pick up 2 good arms for the rotation, potentially one for the bullpen, which will round them out. And now they're with the acquisition of David Price. Wade Miley was considered to be extra, I guess. So they decided, like I said, to deal him to the Mariners, which is funny because Jerry DiPoto, their now GM, was an assistant with the Red Sox after he got fired by the Angels. So I like Wade Miley. He may be a little more mediocre than expected, but I enjoyed him the 1 year he was in Boston, and we'll see what happens in Seattle from here on out. Last night on Monday night, it's Tuesday. On Monday night, rumors going around that the Cubs were reportedly close to acquiring pitcher Shelby Miller from the Braves, but that rumor has since been shot down, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Colorado signs pitcher Jason Mott and Chad Qualls for some reason. I guess they want to sign someone. They're going to sign mediocre relief pitchers. And last but not least, St. Louis acquires Jed Jorko. I think that's how you pronounce his name, from the Padres. Gyorko. Jorko.
Sounds right to me.
Either way, John Jay and some money is headed back to San Diego. But the Padres, the Cardinals seem to do like witch magic with baseball players, so I'm sure Jed Jorko will be fantastic next year.
Right. Moving over to the National Football League now. Let's talk real quick about one more thing that happened this week in baseball.
That's fine.
That I found really interesting, and that's that the anti-PED board that baseball has been partnering with for a while here. Well, not for a while. It was established last season, I should say. But that board now has representatives from all 30 teams connected to it. So now that we know that there's, a representative from each team on this board, let me ask you a question. Do you think that Major League Baseball will crack down even harder than they already have been on PEDs?
Absolutely. I'm looking right now to see what exactly this is, because I'm not sure. I didn't hear anything about this.
It's a foundation. It's an advisory board. They basically try to educate younger individuals about the horrible side effects of PEDs.
I mean, if baseball, Lewis, if baseball is doing something to make more people aware of the effects of PEDs, I would assume that they're themselves are doing the same thing and trying to crack down more, because what good is it going to do if they're saying don't do steroids and then they have all their players doing steroids?
I agree with you there, and I think that this is a good thing that they're joining with this foundation to really educate individuals about the problems with performance-enhancing drugs.
Yeah, I think that, like I said, just they're doing a good job. They've been doing a good job saving face. And they've kind of moved themselves out of the steroid era of baseball, which is nice. It's nice to finally be able to watch baseball and not always think, oh, is this guy on steroids? I mean, you find a few guys here and there, but those are the dumb ones because they're going to get caught no matter what they do at this point in time.
Right.
Moving over to the National Football League now. Speaking of San Diego, as we just were a few minutes ago, Roger Goodell this week drops kind of a bombshell saying, quote, looks like San Diego will not have enough time to present a plan to keep the Chargers. So I guess if we're looking for a football team to move to Los Angeles, it's probably going to be the San Diego Chargers unless something changes real quick. No comment from you?
Sorry, my mic stopped working all of a sudden.
You're okay. I heard you making a couple noises. It's okay.
That was weird. Apologize about that.
January, we'll find out more. I mean, that's, I believe, when they vote on relocation. But you have to think that San Diego, after those comments, are probably at the top of the list to move.
Yeah, more than likely.
They've been unable to secure a new stadium in San Diego. Fans don't want them to move, but if they can't play in Qualcomm Stadium for much longer, I mean, it's old, and I mean, it was built for baseball. They just it has a football imprint, but it's made for baseball, and the cookie cutter essentially.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and if you're a fan in a city and you don't want your team to leave, then you should definitely, do something about it.
Like if the city doesn't want to build them a new stadium, they're going to move because Los Angeles wants to build a brand new stadium for a new football team, and it's going to happen. So I wouldn't be mad about it. I mean, Phil Rivers, I don't think wants to leave, but maybe Phil Rivers demands a trade or something, and then the Buffalo Bills get Phil Rivers. I don't know. They would never do that, though.
No, probably not. But that would be dangerous.
I'm just pissing into the wind at this point in time. Actually, that was an inadvertent but good transition. Speaking of pissing into the wind, Lewis, we found out on Tuesday that Cleveland will start quarterback Johnny Manziel after a 2-game absence due to a benching, which was supposed to be the end of the season and probably the end of his time in Cleveland. But now he's going to start again because, as we saw 2 weeks ago, Josh McCown broke his collarbone last week. Austin Davis was mildly ineffective. So now Johnny Manziel is going to start again. So what?
A good way of putting it.
What do you think about how bad the Cleveland Browns run their stuff?
Well, you know what? I mean, they're essentially eliminated from the playoffs. So you might as well give this guy some time to do a couple of things. One, he could prove that he's going to be a productive member of your team. Or two, show how much he's improved, and if he has a couple of good games, that increases his trade value. So I think it's a smart move both ways for the Cleveland Browns, because you can either A, see if he's going to be good for you, and B, show his value on the market. If he's going to be good for you, then maybe you invest a little more time and effort in helping this guy turn his life around or become productive, a productive member of the team, or you showcase how he's improved his talents, and then you go out and you get some players for him, or you get some money for him. So I think it's a good move on multiple fronts there.
I just think at this point, I mean, they're not happy with what Manziel has done and how he's represented himself after having noted drug issues, or not drug issues, drinking issues. I know alcohol's a drug, so I guess you would say it's a drug issue. Whatever. Beggars be,
Right.
What? Send your hate tweets at the JC Money. I don't give a damn. I think at this point in time, I mean, it sounds to me like Cleveland has cut ties with Johnny Manziel after this season. Like they're planning on doing it. They're ready to do it. They're ready to move on. They're probably going to draft a quarterback this year. The kid out of Memphis is a lot of what people have been saying. But if Manziel shows up the next couple weeks and plays fantastic, I mean, they're probably not going to win. But if Manziel himself plays good and looks good, you kind of got to give him the edge into next season. I mean, if Manziel plays fantastic and they still cut him or they trade him, that's on Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland, like I said, Cleveland seems like they're just a joke of an organization.
Right.
They're not very well run. Not many people want to play for the Browns that I know of. And, I mean, it sounds like, maybe Pettine's job could be on the line sometime soon.
Right.
That's just speculation, but who knows at this point? I mean, they haven't really done much. I mean, they've done nothing to inspire any sort of faith from any fans in the National Football League, any pundits from the National Football League. No one thinks that Cleveland is doing a good job.
Right.
And I mean, if Johnny Manziel gets cut, he's going to end up in Dallas. I mean, we all know that. He'll sit behind Tony Romo. Then when Romo inevitably gets hurt, Manziel will take over, and then it'll be like Brock Osweiler in Denver, where Brock Osweiler just supplants Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning never plays again. Oh, my mini rant being over, Peyton Manning is practicing, expected to practice. Let me try that again. Peyton Manning reportedly is expected to practice on Wednesday, so he may be getting close to coming back, but if Osweiler's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's looked a lot better than Peyton Manning has. Why would you mess around with that?
Plus, I mean, if Osweiler, like Manziel, if Osweiler does good, roll him over next season. He's got confidence. But what do I know? Exactly. I'm just a stupid podcaster who barely plays video games, so I don't know anything about football. The Seattle Seahawks waived cornerback Kerry Williams this week. He cleared waivers, and he's a free agent. The Rams fired offensive coordinator Frank Cignetti, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Essentially, the guy's just a scapegoat for the fact that Nick Foles is the quarterback, and because Jeff Fisher's the head coach, and he's not really good at head coaching. Aside from that one time he got a yard away from winning the Super Bowl. So,
right.
Digress. But speaking of head coaches, CBS Sports' Jason LaCanfora reports that the Saints will not fire Sean Payton this season, or at the end of the season, but they will look to potentially trade his rights. The one team we keep seeing come up is the Miami Dolphins, so we'll keep an eye out on that one. But would you want your team? And I mean, I know you're a Cowboys fan, but just step back for a second. Be a football fan for a second.
Okay.
If your team needed a head coach, would you want your franchise to trade for Sean Payton?
You know what? Maybe he's done a really good job previously. So who knows? That'd be a tough one.
I was leaning back, relaxing, listening to you talk, and I wasn't expecting you to end that quick. So I'll give you my 2 cents. I think Sean Payton is not a great coach like a Belichick or something like that, but I think he's in the upper echelon of coaching. I would say, if my team needed a head coach and Sean Payton was available for the right price, because you don't want to pay too much in a trade, I would want him on my team as a head coach. He's done a fantastic job with Drew Brees.
Yes,
they made a star out of Marquise Colston. They made a star out of Jimmy Graham. They were a lot better when their defense was better, but Drew Brees is getting older, and you can see the wear and tear in his body. But I think the problem with the Saints is they probably could have been contenders for a little while longer had they not put their money in the wrong guys defensively. It seems to me like they re-upped guys based on, here's what you've done for us, here's a lot of money, instead of saying, we don't want to pay you this kind of money, you're not that great anymore. We're going to go get someone better, but you can, more than happy to come back cheaper. I think stuff like that really, like going out and picking up Jarvis Bird because they wanted to. Like, he hasn't done that much for me if last time I checked. That's one of those things that separates the
not a whole lot, no.
Yeah, that's what separates contenders from pretenders is actually, making smart moves in free agency. So if those come in to bite you in the ass, it's going to be hard to continue to be good. And like I said, their defense has just been atrocious. Rob Ryan took the fall for that one, but they're still bad. They gave up a ton of points last week. It's the system, it's the players in the system. They'll be better maybe someday, but not today.
Yeah, maybe someday, but definitely not today. But I mean, yeah.
Also,
it is what it is.
Rumors of Rob Ryan being around Buffalo as well, and Rex Ryan actually did not do anything to put those rumors to rest. He said it probably was him. So I'm sure Rob Ryan is hanging out in Buffalo. We'll see if that has anything to do with a job or if he's just hanging out in Buffalo.
I think he's just hanging out in Buffalo.
Well, we'll see. We will see. I think if the Bills don't make the playoffs, they may make some changes defensively. I think you're going to see Mario Williams go bye-bye because it saves a ton of cash. I mean, they may get a different defensive coordinator. I'm not sure. But I'm assuming you'll see a lot of defensive changes this offseason, get a lot of guys that play Rex Ryan kind of football, I guess. But we'll talk about that.
Could you imagine if the brothers were coaching together?
I don't know if they could coexist together. I mean, I'd like to see it, but I'm not sure if they could coexist together.
It would be interesting to watch.
Oh, absolutely. I'd pay for that. That's worth the price of admission alone.
I completely agree.
Now we're going to look back on Week 13 before we move on to the Pick'em segment. I know we're going to kind of run a quick podcast this week, but honestly, I don't have much to talk about. I'm just looking down the list real quick. Lewis, you and I went 10-6. John went 9-7. I'm up to 116 wins. You're at 113. John's at 105. Now with John, for some reason, I'm somehow 2 off, either 2 wins off or 2 losses off. Our math adds up, but John's doesn't. And I looked back through the book, and it didn't. I mixed. If John gets close, I'll recount. But right now, he's 11 back from me. So we'll see how that one works out in the long run. No, I'm just looking on the list. I mean, John had the Jets. We had the Giants. That one was kind of a push. That one was an overtime victory for the Jets. We all had Chicago beating San Fran. San Francisco won. We all had Jacksonville over Tennessee, which was a crazy, crazy, crazy game. Tennessee definitely earned that victory. Lewis, you and I had Buffalo over Houston. I mean, I was surprised that Houston didn't play better, but the Bills did a fantastic job keeping J.J. Watt off the quarterback, which was, I think, the key to victory. It's just keeping J.J. Watt away from Tyrod Taylor, and that right there was, I mean, like I said, my personal thought is that was the key to victory. You have to keep J.J. Watt away from the quarterback, and you'll be fine. We had Baltimore, Miami. We were all wrong on that one. And kind of the shocker of the day was New England losing to the Eagles. Now, I'm assuming that had to do with the fact that Tom Brady ended up playing wide receiver for one play. Because
but that was actually a good play. That guy ended up some good yards.
But it's to the point now where they don't have anybody to throw the ball to, so Brady has no weapons offensively, so it's very hard to get any continuity going. It's like the old days of the Patriots when Brady had nothing, and my brother thinks it's adorable upstairs. He's playing music loud as hell. So you're going to have to give me a second to text him and tell him to turn this shit down. Because it's
I could hear that.
It literally is shit. Do me a favor. Tell me what you think about the Patriots and the Eagles.
Well, I kind of feel the same way you do. Unfortunately, the Patriots really don't have any weapons right now that are healthy. They're missing some wide receivers. Obviously, when you don't have Gronkowski on the field, that's a huge blow. So while people are like, yeah, the Eagles won, take that, Patriots, you can't really be jumping on the Eagles bandwagon because once again, as we were saying, the Patriots are beat up. And that never helps the team. That is
no. I think at some point in time, I mean, the Patriots will get Patriots. I know. It's really pissing me off. Back to football now.
No problem.
Let's see here. Week 14 of the 2015 National Football League season. It's 2015. I kept writing 2016 in my book for some reason. I don't know.
Not yet.
Well, I was going to say, I thought it was to put 2016 because it's 2015-2016, so I just put 2016. We only disagree on 3 games this week. Lewis, you and I have Buffalo. John has Philadelphia. I have Cincinnati. Pittsburgh, and I have Green Bay. John has Green Bay. You have Dallas. Now, I can see why you picked Dallas. They kind of have to win at this point, but the East is a tire fire, so it may work out for them. I mean, there's a potential that we could have a 3 or 4 way tie at 6-10 in the East with Dallas winning the division at 6-10. Like, that's madness.
That is madness, and it's a very real possibility that it's going to happen. And the reason why I decided to go with Dallas over Green Bay is because, quite frankly, Green Bay has not been looking really good the last several weeks. They've been struggling, and Dallas knows that they have to win, period. I was like, you know what? Like, I thought about going with Green Bay because we know when Green Bay turns it on, they're ridiculous. But they're struggling. Dallas needs to win. So I was like, screw it. I'm just going to go with Dallas.
I'll tell you what, the game on Monday, I didn't watch it, but I heard about it because, again, I haven't watched football in 2 months at this point. I'm very proud of that, which is why I keep mentioning it. I'm very proud I haven't watched football in a long time. But okay. I read and I saw that game on Monday night was just atrocious.
The first 3 quarters was horrible. You know what? I can't even say the first 3 quarters was horrible. Dallas's defense played pretty decent for 3 quarters. The fourth quarter actually was a pretty exciting quarter. There was a lot of back and forth between both teams. So the fourth quarter actually made it really fun to watch. And Dan Bailey is a beast.
Well, he's one of the best in the game for sure.
Absolutely. So, whenever you have a kicker like Dan Bailey, if you get him in range, you have a chance to win. And that's what happened last night.
Sorry, I was reading a tweet about John Farrell saying Clay Buchholz is going to hit 200 innings next season, and I almost peed in my pants because that's hilarious. With Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, I'm going with Cincy just because Cincinnati, I think, is the better team. I mean, Pittsburgh's been on a roll. They need to keep winning to get in the playoffs, improbable into the playoffs because of all the stuff that's happened this year with quarterbacks and with running backs.
Right.
I mean, Landry Jones went down starting, and Ben Roethlisberger came in relief. Ben Roethlisberger went down as a starter, and Michael Vick came in and won. I mean, it's just been a crazy, crazy, crazy season for them. They've lost Le'Veon Bell to a knee injury.
Right.
D'Angelo Williams is their running back, and they're doing fantastic enough to be in the playoff hunt. But I just think Cincinnati's the better team, and when you're a good team, you beat lesser teams, and that's where I'm going with on this one. Cincinnati's better, and I think they're going to win.
Right. I sat there and I stared at that particular matchup for literally like 10 minutes. And I just went over in my head the pros and cons of both teams. And the way that the Steelers' offense has been looking the last couple of weeks is scary. And Ben has just been on fire. Listen, I hate the Steelers with a passion.
Oh, I know.
But that team is looking kind of scary. And I think that they're going to take the game. That's why I decided to go with Pittsburgh.
They've been clicking. Their offense has been clicking on all cylinders, sure. And
absolutely.
I think it needs to continue to click on all cylinders if they want to win this game. I just think the Bengals' defense is too good. I think that offensively, the Bengals have been good enough they're good enough to win this game. If they want to keep pace, I mean, right now the Patriots have, I don't know if it's 1-2. I'd have to check and see because I didn't check and see before the podcast. My phone might die though. I'm going to just get this popped up real fast. Playoff picture. This is how we do things here at the Better Live Than Dead podcast. Is that we don't do much homework beforehand, and we do all the homework while we're actually doing the podcast.
Hey, it makes it more fun.
It's fun. It's exciting because it creates more conversation, and that's what we're looking for in the long run. So right now, Cincinnati is the 1 seed. In Denver, the 2 seed. New England's the 3 seed because of just the way things have played out. Because Denver obviously beat New England. And I don't know why. I have to see why Cincy's the 1 seed. I'm thinking Cincy's probably just the way it shakes. I'll have to look it up and check it out and get back to you on that one. But so right now, Cincy and Denver would have the home field advantage and the bye week. It'd be New England, New York, week 1 of the wild card playoff, Kansas City, Indy. And so it's and there's Pittsburgh at 7-5, Buffalo 6-6. So Buffalo needs a lot of things to roll their way. I mean,
right.
They're game back, but you have 1, 2, 3 teams at 7. Houston at 6-6. Well, Houston is at 6-6 with Indianapolis 6-6, but obviously Indy has a tiebreaker at this point in time.
Right.
So a lot of mediocrity at the bottom of the AFC. Same with the bottom of the NFC as well.
Yeah.
But just wait for it to play out. I'm not going to lose sleep either way. But if you get the Jets and the Patriots and the Chiefs and the Colts, that's not really bad. It's not bad football at all. Because then you would get Cincinnati, New England. Because, the Patriots would probably be the Jets. You'd get Cincinnati, New England. You'd get the winner of Kansas City, Indianapolis going to Denver, which would be an interesting game, too, because is it going to be Peyton Manning? Is it going to be Brock Osweiler? Who's it going to be? What's going to happen? But Denver's defense has been good enough where Denver's defense can probably hold off Kansas City, hold off Indianapolis. So we'll see what happens there. But in the NFC, now that we're doing this, I want to mention this. Carolina clinched a playoff berth, 12-0. Do they have to go 16-0, do you think?
No.
Where do you think they fall?
No. I'd have to take a look at their remaining schedule.
Well, the remaining schedule for them is the Falcons, the Giants, the Falcons, the Buccaneers.
Oh, yeah, they could go 16-0.
Maybe they lose to the Buccaneers because they're in Tampa the final game, or they're home versus Tampa final game, but it could be a game.
Now it gets to this. You have to realize, do you want to start resting people?
I don't think so. I don't think so. It's not a situation where you don't want guys getting too comfortable because they've never done this before. The last time they went to the playoffs, they went to the playoffs once, I think, with Cam Newton, if I'm not mistaken. You don't want guys, I don't know, necessarily getting too comfortable if that's the case, but I guess that was the wrong word to use, but you just don't want guys to get to the point where
they're lax.
Where you're just like, oh, hey, we're better than them. We want them. You have to go and prove it every single week. If guys get hurt, that's football. That's you play the game. That's what happens. As I say, crap literally happens. You could go out tomorrow and get hit by a bus. That's life. Things happen. But I think if 16-0 is in the chute, like say week 17, and if they get a big lead, you pull Cam Newton. But if they're 16-0 or 15-0 going to that last game, you're damn right they're going to go out and play their asses off to try to go 16-0 because it's only happened two other times. It's only happened two other times in football history.
Right.
Now I'm looking here just to see.
Now I want people in the listening world to think about something real quick, as we're talking about the Patriots and how they're struggling right now because of the injuries. By playoff time, the key components that have been injured are supposed to be back.
Yeah.
And that could be extremely scary.
If the Patriots get back in any, a 75% Edelman and a 75% Gronkowski, that's better than what they have right now.
Absolutely.
Now, real quick, before we move over to the conversation part of the podcast this evening, I'm waiting for the page to load because my phone battery is at 1%, which is why I'm glad we got that talk out quick, but I have to get it popped up on my computer. Playoffs for fantasy football for the Wolf Insider Football League, the official fantasy football league of the Better Live Than Dead podcast and BLTDsports.com. The playoffs begin this week, and we have the lucky 6 teams. First off, Andy and Jordan are the 1-2 seeds. They've got a bye week. This week we've got Chris versus Eric and John versus my dad. So those are the people vying for the trophy, and we'll see what happens. Congratulations to them making the playoffs. I know this week Dawn, Lewis, myself, and Kenny have the week off, but we will all play for a consolation trophy. Now the way that works is if you lose the final game, you get the horse ass trophy. Because if you win it, why would you get the horse ass trophy if you win it?
Right.
So we'll see how that one works out, but it looks like I'll be playing Kenny and you'll be playing Dawn.
Awesome.
So one of us might be in the horse ass game. We'll see.
Fantastic.
But with that being said, I guess we'll move over to the after show portion of the podcast.
Awesome.
The podcast is over. We did good. We did well.
Yes, we did, sir.
About an hour. But I wanted to mention a couple things. First off, I did go to the art gallery on Sunday. It was fantastic. First art gallery I've ever been to in my life. I went with my girlfriend. It was wonderful. Something she talked about an art gallery once, and I said, I've never been. She said, let's go sometime. So we decided this weekend would be the time to go. I love how things work out that way, too. It's wonderful.
Look at you, Ryan, trying to get some culture in your life.
Well, it was cool because there was a Monet exhibit, so I got to see like 7 or 8 Monet paintings. I got to see a Picasso painting, a couple other really cool things. It makes me, I don't know how to art gallery very well. Like, I don't know. I was really awkward. Like, do I just stare at the pictures? Do I like think how it makes me feel, or do I just look at it and I'm like, that's cool? Like, I know everyone reacts differently to things, but maybe I can like look on the internet or something to how to figure out how to actually act in an art gallery. But
I'm glad you had a good time. I find art galleries to be dreadfully boring.
It wasn't the greatest, like, it wasn't the most exciting thing in the world, but it's really cool to see. For me, it's really cool to see art, because I'm of the thought process that, and a lot of people are of this thought process, but me personally, I'm the same. I'm as like a lot of other people, where art to me is different than art to you. Everybody and anything in this world can be art. It just determines how you interpret it.
No, I agree.
I can draw a line on a piece of paper, and I can say, this is an art piece. This is a fantastic piece of art. Right. Someone else could look at it and say, you're a dipshit. That's just a line on a piece of paper.
Right. Exactly. Right. No, that's absolutely true.
And I like to interpret a lot of different things as art. So it's always fun for me, like, to go and look and see how a specific artist or a specific person or a specific time period interpreted art. So that's why it was so cool for me to see, the techniques and stuff like that. I'm no artist myself. I can barely draw a stick figure. But
I find the actual process of the art to be fascinating, because, like you, I can't draw to save my life. If someone put a gun to my head and said, "Draw me something fantastic," I'm gonna be like, "Well, shoot me. If you want fantastic, I hope you think stick figures are fantastic." Because that's about where it's going to go. But I find the minds behind the people who made the paintings to be very fascinating, because if you study a lot of the artists who have gotten famous after their deaths, that the paintings are very famous, or they sell for millions and millions of dollars, there's a lot of really cool stories behind the paintings. Some of them completely frightening, like this person was a psycho, but holy cow, he could draw and he could paint. And you see a lot of artists hide secret messages in their paintings. Like, people for years have thought that the Mona Lisa, that there's more to the Mona Lisa than what people think. And this week it actually came out that they believe there's another painting beneath the Mona Lisa. And so, yeah, there really is. And so there's always, me, the people who create the art, especially when it's really good art, that's fascinating to me. I've been to some of the modern art museums, and modern art to me is trash on a stick. Like, okay, so you took some junk and you pieced it together and you were like, "Blood, this is art." That's not art. I could do that crap. But the old painters, those people, to be able to do what they did at the time and to have their pieces of work still be relevant, hundreds, thousands of years later, that to me is fascinating. Even though I find the actual art itself dreadfully boring, the stories behind the artists interest me.
I was gonna say something, but my phone unfortunately shut off. I think that, like I said, I'm of the thought process that if it's a pile of junk, as long as there's something, it's like, if you have a good story behind it, I'm down. Like, if you can, I'm fascinated by that too. Like, if you can say, look, I have this pile of trash, but there's a story behind it. Like, there's an artistic story behind it. Okay, you've got my attention.
Right.
Like, I've got no problem with that. Like, I said, it's everyone has their own freedom to express themselves in any way they feel, and I'm cool with whatever, man. But to also point.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, to also point out, speaking of art, I went and saw a movie, but I'm gonna let you finish what you were saying.
I was gonna say, there's got to be good art. It can't be like,
Well, but then again, that's also very subjective, because
It is, but like several years ago, when the guy put the crucifix in a jar of urine and called it art, like that's not art to me.
But to someone it might be. Like to that guy it is. I mean, if I like that would be a scenario where I would want to read and ask why, why does this guy think this is art, or why is this art to him? And,
right.
And what makes him feel like this over something else is art specifically.
Right.
But, like I said, it's all subjective. That's what makes it fun. Real quick, I just saw here, Golden State has no mercy. They are up 50-28 on Indiana right now. Holy crap.
Ouch. Ouch.
But like I said, speaking of art, I went Sunday night and I went to see Victor Frankenstein. Which
what'd you think?
I enjoyed it. Like, it was a little rough from the start. I didn't think it was going to be great. I mean, the acting was decent. James McAvoy or I just say McAvoy, but I know it's not how to pronounce it. It's McAvoy or something like that. Daniel Radcliffe was great in it too.
Okay.
It seemed kind of like science fiction-y to start off with, because essentially what they did was they took a dead animal, took dead animal parts and made a dead animal, like a live, and it was really disgusting. But then they turned the focus on actually making Frankenstein, and it was like, okay, this is cool. And I mean, just the way the story progressed, how the movie told itself, I really enjoyed it. I would definitely see it again. I'm sure I'm definitely gonna suggest it to my dad at some point in time, maybe when it comes out, to check it out, because I think he would enjoy it. But yeah, if when it comes out on DVD and grab it from Redbox or something, and you have nothing to do on a Saturday night, I would certainly take a watch. I mean, it's a good movie. I enjoyed it.
I've seen several movies in the past week, the 2 weeks that I enjoyed. I saw The Man from U.N.C.L.E. That was actually pretty good. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I rewatched Jurassic Park, the new one.
What do you think of that? I enjoyed it, but I wasn't satisfied.
I thought it was a good follow-up to what they had done previously. I thought the special effects were incredible. I found it humorous at certain times when it should have been humorous. I thought it was pretty decent. Nothing fabulous,
I mean, it had its share of plot holes, and I don't know how they're going to set up 2 more movies. Like I told you when we first discussed that, I don't know how they're going to set up 2 more movies. But hey, they're going to make a crap load of money, so I guess it's all that matters. But
the scientists got away with the other engineered embryos and stuff, so they'll set something up with that. But I don't know. I feel I don't want them to ruin what we knew as the original Jurassic Parks, because 1 and 2 was good, 3 was kind of crap on a stick.
It's just a cop out. It's a total cop out that they called it a readaptation of the original movies, because it's just its own movie by itself. Like if they had said it was a standalone movie, I don't know if people would have cared as much. But the fact that it's like Jurassic Park, old movies just turned into Jurassic Park today, and it's like, no, it's not. It's a completely different movie.
It is a different movie. It absolutely is.
I was actually sorry. No, I was change the subject.
I saw Terminator Genesis. I had seen it in theaters, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I liked the fact that Arnold was in this one as an older Terminator model. I enjoyed that movie. I thought it was pretty good.
After the art museum, I turned a pile of books and DVDs into a Christmas tree, which is pretty cool.
I saw that. Yeah, good job.
Thank you. I'm very artsy.
There you go. There's your art right there.
I was feeling it, man. I was just like, I'm very inspired. I want to do something, and I Googled it and was like, let's do this. And it took me like 45 minutes, but it was worth it.
I'm really looking forward to a couple of movies coming up. Star Wars, obviously. I am looking forward to Star Wars, and I'm concerned about Star Wars at the same time.
Well, that's fair. I mean, I've never seen a Star Wars movie, but it's not really my thing. But I understand. Right. It's like the Jurassic World thing. It's on a whole different level. I know it's like 20 times more with Star Wars, but you don't want them to ruin the legacy that's already been created.
Exactly.
But you also want them to tell a decent story, because I mean, even if the movie comes out and it doesn't destroy the legacy, but it doesn't tell a good story, people are going to be pissed off.
Well,
I mean, because you can do that. I was going to say you can come out with a movie that doesn't destroy a legacy of but it also doesn't really do much. Like make a safe version of the movie where it's like, we know we can do A or X, Y, and Z. People won't be mad, but they won't really be satisfied.
Well, what they're doing with this is they basically have come out and said that, yes, after Return of the Jedi, there was a huge basic Star Wars universe that was created. There's been, I believe, over 1,000 books and comic books that basically wrote the story after Return of the Jedi. And they've done a lot before the last three that came out too, setting up that universe. But this particular movie, they've come out and they said they're ignoring what has come out after Return of the Jedi. So this is kind of a new storyline that they're going with, and the rumors that are swirling around is kind of concerning me. So, listen, if people are listening to this, my Twitter, MRLG Perez, Hotmail, Mr. Louis G. Perez, Instagram, Mr. LG Perez. Hit me up, because the main character, Finn, his last name is Calrissian, which means he's Lando Calrissian's son, or he's related to Lando Calrissian. He has Anakin Skywalker, who becomes Darth Vader. He has his original lightsaber. I want to know why, because there's no indication that he's a Force user. And Kylo Ren, who's the bad guy with the really cool lightsaber, there's rumors that he actually is not a Force user and not a real Sith, hence he doesn't have the Darth name. That concerns me as a huge Star Wars fan. So it'll be interesting to see the way they go with this.
I have no idea what any of that meant, but it sounds interesting. I mean, I don't even know what's going on, but I'm kind of like, okay, I can see where you get excited about, for sure.
I'm looking forward to it. And another one I'm looking forward to, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go. Keep going. Sorry.
The other one I'm looking forward to is Quentin Tarantino's new one, The Hateful Eight. That looks awesome.
I'm looking forward to The Revenant with Leo DiCaprio.
That looks pretty good, and I've heard it's absolutely violent and crazy.
I'm sure it is. I mean, it's based on a true story, apparently.
Right. And now that I've seen the new extended trailer for Batman versus Superman, I was up in the air about that movie. I was going to go see it because it's Batman versus Superman, and I enjoyed very much the last Superman movie, Man of Steel. But now that I've seen the new trailer, I'm actually really looking forward to this, because they're introducing Doomsday. And anyone who follows comic books or Superman knows that Doomsday kills Superman.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so this may be how they bring the Justice League together. I was concerned.
Well, you would hope so, because at some point in time, like, DC has to stop sucking just by default. Right. Like, they've sucked so much that at some point in time, you're like, it's like with Marvel, when everyone starts to get nervous when a new movie comes out, because you're like, is this going to be the one that bombed? Where DC, you're like, is this going to be the one that finally is good and that's going to like kickstart everything?
Now you've caught up with the whole Marvel universe, right?
I am. I just finished episode 5 of Daredevil, so I still have to watch Jessica Jones and Agent Carter.
Okay, Jessica Jones was awesome.
And I'm
but you caught up on the movies, right?
Yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I just have to watch the last episode of this season, and then there's the mid-season break. All right. Now,
which,
by the way, real quick, just a complete tangent. I'm sorry to cut you off, Louis, but
no, go ahead.
Holy hell, like, this season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been next level in terms of
I haven't watched it yet.
Crazy it has been.
That's what I've heard. I have all the episodes recorded. I'm going to start watching them. I haven't watched it yet.
Like I told someone a couple days ago, we said this before, about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The first season took about 9 episodes to get into. Then
right.
Season 2 was good. Season 3 from like the start has just been like, I don't even know how it got that good that fast, but it's gotten fantastic. It wasn't bad before, but it's fantastic now. It's like must-see comic book TV.
All right, I'm about to check. I'm going to start watching my recordings. But here's the deal. I'm looking forward to Captain America Civil War.
I don't want to talk about it.
No?
I'm like, no, that's how excited I am. Like, if I talk about it,
right.
As hell.
Well, here's the deal. I don't know if you know this, but just like Doomsday kills Superman, in Civil War, they kill Captain America. in the comic
because
books.
that's how the comic book goes. But they're kind of straying away from the comic books because there's some talk that Captain America, Chris Evans' Captain America, may be in Spider-Man. So it may not happen now. It may not ever happen. It may happen a different way because obviously we've seen, and you know this better than I do because I don't know comic books at all. I just what I read on the internet, what people tell me, people like you tell me. They try to stick true to the word of the comic book. But at some point in time, if it doesn't make sense or if they can make the story better or deeper by changing something, they will. And they have.
Right. Well,
so
in the comic books...
if it makes sense to not kill Captain America this movie, then they won't kill him.
Right. Well, in the comic books, they kill Captain America and Bucky, the Winter Soldier, becomes the new Captain America.
Which is what I was expecting. But apparently now, as we get closer to the movie and more starts to come out, it really doesn't seem like that's going to happen, at least right now.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
I just don't know what I'm going to do with myself watching that movie in a movie theater. I'm going to freak the hell out.
Right, I understand. I'm interested to see how they're going to incorporate Thanos and the Gauntlet with that. So, because eventually it's all going to become one when they have to do the Infinity Wars.
Yeah. That's years away, though. We can't even talk about that because you'll get me hyped up for something that's not happening for a couple of years.
I understand.
We don't want to do that, and that's gonna be the worst when Infinity Wars 1 comes out, and then you have to wait a whole year for Infinity or 364 days for number 2. Like, come on,
right?
You're killing me, man. You're killing me.
Dude, Jessica Jones is gritty.
I've heard some things about it. Like I know in Daredevil, spoiler alert, but I know it's been out a while, so it doesn't matter. But I just caught the one Vladimir, the one Russian guy getting his head squashed in the door, and like I'm watching it with Tori, and she was like, I was eating food at the time. She goes, "You may want to stop eating for a few minutes." I was like, "Why is that?" And then I just hear, and I looked at the TV, and the guy's head's being squashed in with a door. And I'm like, good Lord!
The guy who played the Kingpin was awesome as the Kingpin.
Yeah.
So in Jessica Jones, just so you know, because Netflix will be doing another series called Luke Cage. Luke Cage is a prominent part of this for Jessica Jones.
They're all 4 of them are gonna come together, right? At some point.
Eventually,
Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, and someone else.
Yeah, I believe they're doing Iron Fist, who was a partner with Luke Cage.
Netflix just grabbed that. So it'll be Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, and Daredevil come together and kind of do their own thing.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm really impressed with the way Netflix has been doing these series.
Oh, Netflix is fantastic. Like HBO Go does it well, but I think Netflix has certainly cornered the market. Not only on they've always done movies good, but I feel like the TV shows, like nobody does it better. And I think there's gonna come a time, not today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, but maybe 5 or 10 years where cable's not going to be completely phased out, but it's going to come a point where CBS is going to release hot new comedy, the first 8 episodes this day, and then a couple weeks later you'll get the last 8 episodes of the season this day, or they'll do it all at once like Netflix does, because that's becoming what everybody wants. I mean, it sucks because it's so much at one time, but I would rather watch a TV show. I would rather be able to watch House of Cards in one sitting or one day or one weekend than have to wait 18 or 19 weeks to watch the entire series.
I enjoy I like it the way the TV stations do it now, but being able to binge watch is fun also.
Well, just being able to digest everything and just have the wealth of TV knowledge at your disposal, but also the chance to just have it, like I said, have it and be able to watch it and be able to digest it right then and there is nice. Yeah, because like you get a cliffhanger and I'm like, but with Netflix, you get the cliffhanger and you can start the new episode in 30 seconds. Right. And it makes more sense that way. It's nice.
There was a couple times with Jessica Jones where it's like 1 o'clock in the morning and I just got done with the episode, but there was a cliffhanger and I was like, I should really go to bed. I'll watch the next episode.
So the problem I have is I watch shows before I go to bed, so I fall asleep. I'll watch like 30 minutes of an episode and fall asleep and have to go back and rewatch the other 30 minutes, and it just gets ridiculous. But I'm trying to get Daredevil done in the next couple of weeks, probably by Christmas, so I can start Jessica Jones, and then I'm going to have to somehow get caught up on Agent Carter.
I know, I didn't get into Agent Carter. That kind of bored me.
I'm just trying to watch everything. Just trying to watch as much as I can.
Let me ask you a question, dude. How do you feel about martial art flicks?
I guess. I've not really watched a lot of them.
Because
But it tells a good story. I mean...
Right. AMC has a new series called Into the Badlands.
Okay.
And I'm not going to lie to you, bro. I was concerned because it's kind of like a post-apocalyptic world, and weapons have been banned because of what happened. But everything is now like swords and martial arts. And I was concerned about it because I'm a huge martial arts fan. I'm not going to lie to you, dude. The very first fight scene, 5 minutes into the first episode, had me hooked. Hooked, bro. The show is awesome.
Yeah, I'm on the fence about it. Like I said, I'm a sucker for a good story. So even if it's the worst movie ever, but it has, a good story, I'll watch it.
This has a good story with some nice little twists in it. Yeah.
You know what? You want to hear something? A total random tangent here.
What's up?
But you reminded me. I love it when people say I'm not going to lie to you, because you know what my smart asshole remark usually is.
What?
I not expect you to.
Right.
It really confuses people. No shot at you. You reminded me of that. Like when I've had a conversation before where someone's like, I'm not going to lie to you. And I look at them straight faced and be like, was I supposed to expect that you were going to lie to me? And they're like, wait, what? And I'm like, right. I'm not sure where you're going with this.
Right. That's funny. That's real funny.
I'm just an asshole sometimes.
It's all good, dude. We all are.
But I'm working on playing the piano. Today was my first day. I was learning how to play Obla Di Obla Da by the Beatles. I kind of got it down a little. And then I started playing Heart and Soul, which is the song from Big, just because I got really bored and wanted to try something different. Right. And I kind of got that down too, but it's going to be a work in progress, but I'm down for it. I mean, even if I don't ever get good at it, just enough to like get my brain moving and get my brain working, I'm down for it.
No doubt.
It's fun. It's always nice to kind of open up a new door in your brain and make it work a little differently and make it work a little harder and see what happens. But
well, as an older individual, let me say to you, keep going with it, because I used to play piano and I stopped. I used to play drums and I stopped. I used to play bass and I stopped. I kind of wish I never had. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop playing the drums. Like the drums, I'm actually thinking about getting an electric kit here in the next year or two. I was never a fan of the electrics.
Well, it's just nice because you can play them whenever. They're very lightweight, compactable. You can put them wherever you want, and you can play them whenever you want. If you want to play at 2 a.m, as long as nobody hears the clicks, you're fine.
Right. That's true.
Plus, you can get with a drum set, you can get 12 different drum sets, because you get the little interface that, I can have a jazz drum, I can have a rock drum, I can have a metal drum set, I can have a whatever drum set I want. So that stuff's cool.
That is the cool part, yeah.
But I that's down the road a while. But I'm trying to learn more. I still don't know how to read music, but I may never try to. But I'm not sure yet. If I have to, I will. But right now, I'm just looking at tabs and stuff, and I put Post-it notes on all the keys so I know what the keys are, because I'm still learning the keys. But I'm kind of getting it figured out.
Cool, bro.
It's fun. It's a new challenge. I appreciate it. It's a new challenge. Instead of sitting around doing nothing with my life, I can sit around and try to play the piano.
There you go.
Plus, my brother-in-law let me borrow his keyboard, which is pretty cool of him.
That was pretty cool.
I knew he would let me because it was sitting around collecting dust, and he had stuff stored on it. And I was like, well, can I borrow it? And he's like, yeah, you can take it out of the house. I don't care. Just take care of it. And I was like,
nice. I'm
going to throw it down the stairs. Yeah, come on. But I guess that does it for the podcast, man. I mean, we've had a good talk today. Good talk.
We did. Absolutely.
If there's anything during the week that you want to talk about, make note of it, and we'll talk about it in the podcast. Like, we don't always have to do all sports. We can do music, anything you want. We got it.
Cool. I'm down with that.
Just let me know.
All right,
I'm sure when Daredevil's done, we can talk about Daredevil. But I'm
absolutely
done with it, so give me some time.
Let me know when you're done with it, because that show was awesome.
I've heard a lot of good things about it, which is why I'm so happy with it, and I'm happy that I'm watching it, because usually it's nice to watch stuff when everyone's like, "This is really good, you'll enjoy it." And I'm like, cool, because I don't like wasting my time.
Right, and then let me know when you start watching Jessica Jones.
Oh, I will. I will. Because I'll probably just piggyback right off and finish one night, start one the next day. And it's cool, too, because they're both only one season right now, so you can get caught up relatively quickly. Unlike when I watched, like, Friday Night Lights, and it took me 2 months to watch it.
No doubt.
But as usual, like we always say, follow Lewis at MRLG Perez. Follow me, Ryan, at Wolf BLTD. Follow BLTD Sports. It's at Twitter, Facebook.com/BLTD Podcast, BLTDsports.com. Check it all out. We'd appreciate it. We appreciate the support, continued support of the podcast, of the website, of the Extracast, of the stories, of the coverage of the Sabres, everything you guys do for us and make this dream possible. We appreciate it. It's always fun, always wonderful. But besides that, podcast over. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to John and Dawn, executive producers. You guys are the best. John, if you get hate tweets, I'm sorry. That's what happens. That's the price of it that you pay. But I guess there's one thing left to say. We are better live than dead.
You're not.
We'll see you same time, same place next week. Actually, next week, I think it's going to be a Wednesday. It's going to have to be a Wednesday because my new schedule starts next week. We'll talk about it. We'll get a Wednesday figured out. We'll get on the podcast, and we'll make this thing happen. But, Louis,
cool.
Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Not a problem. We will talk to you all next week. Thanks for tuning in again, and I don't know. Bye.
Adios.